Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the monthly meeting of the State Boards of Pardons and Paroles. We'll see if there's any specific address any members want to make before we get into our agenda today. You have any words? Well, I do. I heard a rumor that someone in this audience was quitting. Well, actually retiring is a better word. Is that true?
It is true.
It is true.
August 1st.
August 1st. Man, how does that make you feel?
Free.
Liberating. That is fun. Couldn't happen to a better person, I want to say. You've been such a blessing to the state, to this agency, and to all who've ever met you. We're grateful for your service. Thank you very much. Actually, the board has passed a resolution in your honor today, and I want to read that and make a presentation to you if I may do so. A resolution. The undersigned members of the State Boards of Pardons and Paroles desire to proclaim their honor and appreciation for the distinguished career of Joseph Droulet, Esquire, whose outstanding service to the Georgia Department of Law and its most esteemed client, the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and the people of Georgia, concludes with this retirement on August 1st, 2017. Joseph began his career of public service in the state's attorney's office in, is it Kankakee?
Kankakee, Illinois.
Kankakee, Illinois. In Kankakee, Illinois, after obtaining his bachelor's degree of law from the University of Illinois in 1969. In 1971, Joseph demonstrated his great wisdom by moving to Georgia and making his debut here as the Assistant District Attorney for Fulton County, where he prosecuted a number of criminal felonies, including the notorious Wayne Williams. After 20 years in Fulton County District Attorney's Office, Joseph hung out his shingle, dabbling both in civil and criminal law from 1992 to 1998. Thereafter, holding variety of positions to include Special Counsel to the House Ethics Committee, Solicitor in the City Court of Atlanta, the Adjunct Professor at the Georgia State University Law School, before landing at the Department of Law as a Senior Assistant Attorney General, where he served as Section Leader for Public Safety since 2006. Joseph's spirit of public service manifests itself outside of his 9-to-5 jobs in notable positions to include, but not limited to, he was the president of Lamar Inn of Courts in 2006, member of the committee to revise the judicial articles of the Georgia Constitution from 1997 to 1902. Member of the boards of trustees of Georgia State University Foundation, 78 to 84, and the past president of the Inman Park and Virginia Highlands Neighborhood Association. Sure, that was a job. The members of the board desire to express their deep sense of loss at his departure from the law department, but it's also our pleasure that Joseph Droulet will finally be able to enjoy the satisfaction of an active retirement. Therefore, be it hereby resolved by all the members of the State Boards of Pardons and Parole that Joseph Droulet is specially commended and honored for the extraordinary quality of his service to the state of Georgia and the citizens thereof on this occasion of his retirement. Signed and ordered upon this 6th day, June 2017, by the Chairman, Terry Barnard, Vice Chairman, James Mills, Braxton Cotton, Ryan Owens, Jack Clark. Congratulations. Thank you.
got a big board here.
You get a little quick shot here, if you give me your hand back. Good deal. So we'll get photographs of all the board afterward. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You want a speech?
Speech, sure, I've got a 20 minutes.
Welcome to say a few words if you like.
Well, sure, I'd love to. All we do is vote.
Actually, I don't know that you've ever addressed this.
I don't think I have. I was telling Tina, and by the way, this is Tina Piper. Tina's probably going to be my replacement. No, Tina.
Push the speaker button on that microphone where it says speaker.
Just hit next on, Terry, on your model.
Is it next on?
Next on.
Okay. Find the next on. Don't have the next on.
So I'll just take out.
Pardon us. Just a moment. We'll go back to the old fashioned.
I'm gonna pardon you, I'm gonna pardon you for that.
There's the next on. Oh, there is a next on. Next is on.
Okay, now, oh, it works now, look at it, whoa, I have a forum here, I may never sit down. I have enjoyed very much, the work I've done over the years. I particularly enjoyed the agencies that I've been able to work with here in state government since 2006. And frankly, when I came to state government, I had retired from Fulton County, I had retired from the city of Atlanta. I lobbied for the district attorneys for many, many years, and for the solicitors of state courts. And I thought I knew a whole lot about government until I went to the Attorney General's office and began representing agencies such as corrections, for Brian Owens, and the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and the State Patrol, and the Board of Public Safety, and the Peace Officers Standards and Training Council, and Juvenile Justice. Anyway, I realized, my God, there's so much complicated information and expertise that one must have in order to understand the issues that face state agencies. And many of them are unique, such as this one. This is the only agency of its kind where you have a five-headed agency. Each of you is a constitutional officer. No other agency is like that in the state of Georgia. And you have a constitutional basis for your existence. So there are all kinds of unique issues related to the Board of Pardons and Parole. And each agency has issues like that. So it has been fascinating. We've faced all kinds of challenges over the years. People attacking the board, and people love to attack state agencies of various kinds. And one of the things I discovered is, as an assistant attorney general, is we are like public defenders for state agencies, trying to protect them when people are attacking them and accusing them. And we've done very well with it. Now, interestingly, I was just telling Tina, I was looking at the board here, and I realized that I know about half of the folks on the board there, going back many, many years, back to Wayne Garner and people before that, and others who I've worked with at the General Assembly and elsewhere. So it has been a wonderful time representing you all, and I've enjoyed it immensely. And in the future, I plan to continue being involved in advocacy of various kinds. So I'm going to be doing it sort of on my own, and be able to say all the things I wanted to say for many, many years, and not be constrained by any office that I happen to be holding. So, anyway, thank you all very much. I appreciate that you.
Sounds good. So when does the book come out?
Well, I am. A number of people have asked me if I'm going to write a book, and I am. I've told my children I'm doing it for them to tell about the funny things that have happened to me, or interesting, bizarre things that I have been involved in over the years. And so I'm probably going to actually do that, just for fun. Anyway, so thank you all very much.
Yeah, every member, I think, wants to say, or some members want us to say something.
Do I get a chance to rebut?
This is going to be a story about you, so it's not something to rebut. The first time I remember, and the reason I'm saying this story, this is a funny story, and I've never told you about it, but the first time I ever knew who Joe Drolet was about 5 years ago. And I was just getting settled into CJCC. I think a phone call on my cell phone. I looked down the phone. Someone in that number. And I answered the phone. I said, hello, this is Braxton. He said, and then Joe says, hey, this is George Relay, your lawyer. And I said, my lawyer? Oh my God, what's kind of going on? And then he went back and forth and he quit, and I've never met Joe before, ever. And he's got one of those personalities, that fresh, dry kind of sense of humor. And he went on, and I was like, who is this guy? So I called Mark McDonough, and I said, Mark, some guy named George Relay called me, talking about he's my lawyer. And he said, yeah, Joe has a very cavalier attitude, is what Mark said.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Since we're bearing it all, writing books and whatnot.
Let's get that.
But I want to say personally, you've always been available for me, especially as a young guy kind of transitioning into leadership at the executive level at CJCC. The lawyers that you've always sent over there to support us have been tremendous. Looking down and see, that's one of the cooler things about being on the board is, every time that we have a lawyer here, you're always here, So we've had conversations on occasion about this or about that, or if we need this in legislation or ask you a question, you're always available. I know me personally as well as the board, running another agency. So I just want to take the time to say, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your service to your country, to your state, and to the name of the city in Illinois that we can.
Kankakee.
Kankakee, we appreciate it. I'm sure they appreciate you too, but thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. All right, let's get into the agenda. I guess we'll start off with prayer. Any of you coming off with prayer for us, we appreciate it.
Good morning to everyone. As we start this business meeting, let us remind ourselves of the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter and the 1st verse. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under the heavens. Amen. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we just stop for a moment in the midst of our busyness to just thank you for being who you are. To thank you for allowing us to lie down and to thank you for allowing us to wake up. Now, Lord, we ask that you come into this business meeting and to guide us as you would have it to go. We pray for godly wisdom, and then we pray for blessings upon this, your agency, upon the leaders of this agency, collectively and entirely, and upon the Parole family. Then we ask that you extend your blessings to this great state, Lord, that you empower it with your godly will. And then not ending there, that you touch this nation as you would have it to be. But before we leave this ground, we ask for your forgiveness for our sins by omission and commission. Forgive us of all of our iniquities and bless us to move forward to become great leaders, showing the Jesus in us. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. The agenda was emailed to each of you. You have a copy of it. This time is our motion to adopt the agenda. So there's a motion and there's a second. Agenda is adopted. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, our very next order of business is the minutes from the April 11th, 2017 regular board meeting. Those minutes also were emailed to each member. If there are no corrections, there's a motion. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it, and those are adopted. Special call meeting for J.W. Ledford. There are also those minutes were emailed to you. If there are no additions or corrections, there's a motion to adopt those minutes.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I don't believe we have any old business before the board at this time. Now the new business, every year, I understand that it is charged that the board must elect its officers. So each year, I guess, since its onset in the 40s, the board has stood before you and had a look at their office and officers, and that will do it this time under new business. I want to take the pleasure of placing into nomination for our chairman that will begin July 1st, ending July 1st, 2018, James Mills. James and I have not only been friends for a long time. I first met James obviously in the legislature. Frankly, one of the very first people I met, coming from South Georgia, and from a little more North Georgia. And I saw him as an extraordinary honorable man from that day forward. He's always proven to be right. Little to know that, I'm gonna get a little bit off the script here, little James, if it's okay. There was a time when the party that we served had an opportunity to come into power. And with that, it meant that, there would be chairmen who would be selected by the speaker, and all of us were lobbying for the position. So we were trying to find the best position we could that would actually lead our careers further and be able to serve the state to the most of our capacity. Many of you know that I have a banking background. Served in a local bank, also served a national company for 6 or 7 years. Actually, a New York Stock Exchange company. Served in their management for a while. Anyway, you would think that I would actually become the chairman of banks, but James did. And you know what? It was fine with me. Those were some options, and I told the speaker I would love to serve there, but James was the one who was chosen to do so. But the truth of the matter is, it worked out well because I was doing banking every day, and but what really, strangely enough, had become my passion was Department of Corrections. And I know that sounds a little odd, but I can remember as a new legislator coming over, and actually an older legislator wisely said, find something that you are passionate about, that you're serious about, and become an expert. And I thought about that every day. And I chose to become what I suspect would have been the expert at the time in the House on the Department of Corrections. And frankly, it has proven a pretty good career. And frankly, I probably would never have gotten looked at for this position that I've served today had I not been taken the time to do that. So these are the things which make us. It's the things that we do in our lives, every step that we take, and how we treat people as we go. And James has always treated me with the most and utmost respect, and it gives me the most honor and the most privilege this morning to nominate James as the next chairman of the State Board of Pardons and Parole. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Congratulations.
Let me give my 20-minute speech. I'll be brief. I just, first of all, want to say thank you to my colleagues here for entrusting with this position. And as Joe said earlier, this is a five-headed board, and no one member has any more power than any other member. It just so happens that two members serve with an extra title, but nothing can be done without three votes. And we understand that on this board. And when I first came onto this board, I remember the process of being appointed here and being asked to come. And I remember the first time I spoke to the agency, and it was something along these lines. And that is that Georgia's greatest asset is not Stone Mountain, it's not Lake Lanier, it's not all the great geography places that we have. It is the people of the state of Georgia. Greatest asset we have. We got some great people in Georgia. And that's what this business is about to me. Every decision we make changes a person's life. Every decision that this board makes. And I hope we will never, ever forget that we are here for others. And people often, they will meet you on the street, or they'll be cutting your hair and they say, what do you do? And you always raise an eyebrow, do I really tell them what I really do? Or, I always leave after I've told them, just say, I hope I can never help you. Because of being on the board of pardons and parole. But the truth of the matter is that when we vote to incarcerate somebody longer or to keep them in longer, we're making those decisions as collective wisdom of 5 people that it's helping, we think. It's helping protect our families from some people that are still dangerous. And then it's helping victims who've been violated. And that's the beauty of this, what we get to do. It is about helping people. And I say this to remind myself, and hopefully to remind everyone in here that, there's no direction. Chairman Bernard has done an outstanding job as our chairman. I told him, I said, well, you set me up for failure. How can I follow what you have done? But I thank you for this responsibility.
Good, there you have it. Our next item, since James is the current vice chairman, certainly can't serve both offices, we must elect a vice chairman. So is there a motion for vice chairman?
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to nominate Mr. Braxton Cotton for vice chair. I think he will indeed serve us well. I've known him for a number of years. I met him when I was working at the Department of Public Safety and Legal Services Division. He was a brash young trooper who has matured and that was elevated to be the executive director of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. And then from there to come here, and I think he will do an outstanding job as this vice chair.
Excellent. So placed in nomination is the name Braxton Cotton for the next vice chairman. Is there a second? So there is a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Congratulations.
To whom much is given, much is required. To whom much is given, much is required. I'm thrilled to serve as a member of the board. It was never in my wildest dreams that I ever think I would be here as a sitting member on the board. With that, I hope only to serve our incoming chairman, to back him up, to provide wise counsel, and to continue to do the work that the board has already been doing. We know that we affect lives, and there is nothing more serious than the work that we've been charged to do by the Constitution of Georgia. So to my counterparts, thank you very much for your support and your confidence. I'm looking forward to doing good work.
So there you have it, the new vice chairman and the new chairman-elect for the oncoming session for the State Board of Pardons. Let's continue our agenda. The next items are a couple of policy revisions. I'll call Chris, if he would come and present those 2 items.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
On last week, you gentlemen were sent board policy revisions for your review and your input. Pending any further input, I request that the 2 board policies up for revision be approved.
Is there any member wishing to take either one of the 2 off and to vote on them individually, or are you okay with voting on both of them? Hearing none, is there a motion that we adopt both policy revision 1.127 and 3.305? There's a motion, is there a second? Second. There is a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. That's pretty fast.
Yes, sir.
Next item is our director's report. Arnett.
Good morning. Great day. Let me be the first to say congratulations to both Chairman-elect James Mills as well as Vice Chairman Braxton Cotton. Thank you for your leadership over the years. We look forward to continuing that leadership and guidance as we continue to move the board forward. I also express those same sentiments to the entire board. We've accomplished a great deal over the last several years, and I'm going to steal a little line from Mr. Braxton Cotton and say this year is going to be a great year. a great year. We have got a lot of great things going on with the agency, and I hope to stand before you over the next year and tell you about the amazing accomplishments that the board will undertake this year. And so, with that, congratulations and thank you for your support. But I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our current chairman and outgoing chairman, Mr. Terry Barnard, and his leadership and guidance over the last 3 years as chairman and 2 years prior to that as vice chairman. And I would like to present to you a little token of our appreciation of your leadership, guidance, and counsel from the senior staff to you. And with that, I would ask you if you'll come down for the presentation from our Deputy Executive Director, Rita Rocker.
So where do you want me to stand?
Right there. Gonna read this, so that everybody can see, the plaque, the inscription. Reads, presented to Terry E. Barnard, Parole Board Chairman, for your years of leadership, State Board of Pardons and Paroles. And on behalf of the senior staff, just want to let you know how much we appreciate your leadership during these last 3 years. We've had some good days, and we've had some bad days, and some tough times. So, yeah, let's dwell on the good days. So we just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate you.
What a wonderful, thank you.
We have one other thing. We know that you enjoy a really good meal every now and then.
I have one of those in Savannah.
They do, don't they? So they're strategically located. So, here you are, a little gift certificate to Bruce Crazy.
Ruth Chris, you want to go?
And with that, I'm going to call on our representative from the Georgia Office of Victim Services, Janelle, to provide a report out on our most recent Victims Visitors Day. She is standing in place, and this will be her first presentation to the board, so y'all be nice.
No portrait.
Our director, Shalandra, is absent today due to personal business. She asked me to step in and present the findings from our recent event. Good morning. It's always rewarding when we come together and give victims a voice in the post-conviction phase of the criminal justice process. Dahlonega, Georgia marks the first miniature Victim Visitors Day since our start in 2006. Because this was a mini VVD, we excluded the opening ceremony and souvenir booklet, but we could not exclude the exit survey. As we always want to know, how are we doing? Is this program worthwhile? And most important of all, are we meeting the needs of crime victims? So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into the results. The Georgia Office of Victim Services partnered with the DA's office in the Enolta Judicial Circuit to host the first VVD of 2017. The board met with 110 individuals representing 48 cases. The first question we asked the victim is, how far did they travel to get to this event? As you can see, victims traveled 31 counties across Georgia and from 3 different states. The states being South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. This next slide tells you the crime types on 48 cases. 29% were murder cases. Another 8% were child molestation cases. 8% were aggravated assault. And another 8% were false imprisonment cases. The others are broken down, as you can see, according to the chart. How did you find out about this event? Now, this question is one I definitely look forward to seeing the results, because we always send out invitations in our outgoing mail. 56% say that they found out through the Georgia Office of Victim Services. 24%, the DA's office, Victim Advocate. We have MAD, which is Mothers Against Drunk Driving, family members, and the internet. %, strongly agreed their time was well spent, and 98% rated the level of customer service as above average or excellent. Now, over the years, these numbers have been pretty consistent. 93% strongly agree the parole corrections DCS employee was knowledgeable. And before that day, 87% of victims were already registered with our office. 96% strongly agree the corrections parole DCS employee was courteous. When asked how long they waited to speak with a parole corrections DCS employee, 56% waited 15 minutes or less, 22% waited 15 to 30 minutes, and only 4% waited over 60 minutes. Now, to explain the 4% waiting over 60 minutes, some victims asked to speak with a particular board member, as well as when we had a break for lunch during the meet and greet. Some family members arrived before their appointed time, which explains the 4%. Now, this next slide is quite impressive. 100% feel all of their questions were answered, which is our goal. And 100% recommend their families to attend a Victim Visitors Day, which is awesome because we absolutely love hosting them. We always want to know exactly what the victims like most about their experience. We asked the survey takers to write exactly what the victim stated. Just to kind of read a few: being able to talk to a parole board member and understanding of the voting process and grid sheet. Number 8, they liked how personal it was and how answers were given. Number 21, being able to meet a board member, Thurman Henderson was extremely knowledgeable. Number 40, people seem very concerned, knowledgeable, and helpful, informative. Number 42, all of it, the compassion. They listened to us. We actually got answers today. They made us feel like we mattered. Now I would have to say that's my favorite one. Not only do we want to know what the victims like most, but we want to know how they feel we can improve. Number 3, nothing at this time. Number 17, please serve food. I kid you not. Since 2005, when I started here, the survey results, there has always been at least one victim to say, please serve food, or where's the chicken? Can we get more donuts? But if you can recall, the Milledgeville BDD, when we had this nice spread of collard greens, macaroni and cheese, dressing, it was all the work. It was awesome. Number 25, more direct communication with the victim in all steps of the process. Number 31, change the name from victim. Now, this one here, we were trying to kind of think what the victim was trying to state. We were thinking along the lines of maybe survivor, not sure, but interesting. Number 35, would like for the victims to be able to speak in front of all board members when making a decision whether or not a case is paroled. Since 2006, 3,328 victims attended Victim Visitors Day. This was the first time we visited the North Georgia area since hosting in Dalton, Georgia, August of 2010. Jonesboro, Georgia, Clayton County, still holds the record for the most victims to attend at 223. And Milledgeville, Georgia, holds the record of 100 for the number of cases. As you can see, however, we did not start counting the number of cases until we began with the city of Columbus in 2015. Before I go any further, are there any questions? Everyone always wants to know, where are we going next? Well, we are hoping to partner with the Stone Mountain Judicial Circuit, which represents DeKalb County, in October of 2017. This concludes my presentation today. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Great job, Janelle, and, I'm sure Thurman's got your lunch this week. And, I would be remiss not to recognize Miss Destiny that ran the, computer over there. Great job. But, one thing about the Victims Visitors Day is just one of the public events that we have that really illustrates the board's desire to ensure that all victims, all communities, all stakeholders have a voice in this process, and that voice is actually being responded to. So I thank y'all for the hard work you do over there in the Georgia Office of Victim Services. Great job. Thank you. And outside of any questions from the board, that will conclude my director's report. Questions?
Doesn't look like there's any questions.
Thank you, sir.
That might be the best director's report you've ever given.
I know how to take that.
All right, very good. Moving along, we're going to now go to our general public comments. And I would remind you that the board will not take comments on specific offenders this time. But if you do want to make comments on a specific offender, we have a call center to help you with that. And they'll make sure the board has your information. That number is 404-656-4661. Having said that, if there's anyone who wishes to make public comments on any of the items which were before the board today, now would be that time. Public comments. Everybody's satisfied, looks like. Very true.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's one.
Okay. He's setting us up. Any more public comments? No public comments. The stage is yours.
Well, I do want to take, we have some folks here from DCS. We welcome you being here with us today. Thank you for attending. I want to take a moment on behalf of the board, Mr. Chairman, if I could. I'm going to ask our incoming vice chairman, I think there is a little gift there beside you. And
That does not look like a gift certificate from.
well, if you'll just hold on to it there for a second. We, the board has gotten together, and Mr. Chairman, we cannot thank you enough for all that you've done during your 3 years. So we've had to wade through some waters that the board has not always had to wade through legislatively, and you have used your legislative experience, gifts, and talents. And, I've always heard it said that if you want to hear well done, then you need to well do. And you have done well. And, we want to give you this gift on behalf of 5 members of the board. You've been one of those 5 for the we appreciate you and all that you've done. Thank you.
Very good, I appreciate that. And actually, I'm gonna declare that gift state secret. So you'll just have to try to figure out what's in the line. That being said, thank you guys.
Not
Appreciate it.
sure we can defend that.
Can you defend that? Are you not sure you can defend it? I think I can. Very good. Any more public comments? Thanks for the gift, guys. Thanks for the honor. It really has been an honor. Gosh, I remember when you guys first nominated me, I was frankly frightened about the opportunity. It was, I had the opportunity to chair across the street and other types of board meetings, but, this is a unique board and we've come a long, long way since I got here, I guess, 7 years ago. There have been requests that the board pull back the shrouds and open up a little more sunlight here, and I think that we've done a lot of that. We've managed to at least direct people to understand a bit more about the board. And it was somewhat our fault and somewhat the public's fault for not knowing how to find the information. We've made that much more convenient to the public, and I'm just thrilled to have been a part of that. The decisions that have made is obviously very clear from stats that they're out. I remember an old stating that the proof is in the pudding. When you look at the pudding, you'll find out that this board has accomplished some amazing things when it comes to releases and also releasing what we would expect to be the correct people. Look at the recidivism rate. It speaks all. There are isolated cases from time to time that we all wish we could do something about. That happens in every state that has a parole board. And actually from every bench that actually declares a sentence of probation, it happens. But overall, the board has done an extraordinary job, and frankly, there has been no more highlight of my service to have served as your chairman, not only for 1 year, but for 3 years. And I will carry that precious opportunity to my grave. That being said, is there a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor say aye. The ayes have it. We are now adjourned.